Hello, I'm Kurt Kleinschnitz. I want to show you how to use Multisim and place a bus, a very useful thing. This is the icon to place a bus in Multisim. You click on that, and then you click in your workspace and you draw your bus. So there's our bus, bus number 1. Now, the main advantage of a bus is that it allows you to have one line indicated on your screen, and that one line represents many different lines all at the same time. So let's put some connections to our bus and make it very concrete so you can see. All right, I'm going to open the place window and I'm going to place a component. And so we'll start off by placing, this is the place window. I'm going to start off by placing an integrated circuit, TTL circuit. There's an AND gate. I'm going to click OK. Good. What happens is when you come up with an AND gate, we'll take section 1 and we'll put it here. Then we'll cancel. We're only going to use section 1. Next, using the place window, I'm going to put sources in. And so I'm going to put in VCC, which is the positive voltage. So I'll put that right here. And then I'm going to put in DC ground. I'm going to click OK. So now we have voltage to our chip and ground to our chip, and it's also on the board for us to use. Let's go ahead and put in a couple switches. So I'm going to the basic menu here. I'm going to put in a pair of dip switches. So here's the little window. I'm putting in dip switch A, and I'm putting in dip switch B. Good. I'm going to cancel that. Let's put in a couple LEDs, light emitting diodes that indicate when the circuit's on or off. So here's a red LED. It's selected right now. I'm going to click OK. And we'll put in 2 LEDs for the input circuits, for the 2 input switches. And then we'll put 1 LED for the output. Okay, so now we're done placing things. I'm going to click Close. Now to do the wiring in Multisim, you just click on one connector and you take it to the other connection and click, and that puts the connection on, makes the connection for you. So I'm going to go from here to the bus and see how this makes this little angle right here. That indicates the bus connection is ready to make. I'm going to click on that, and then here is the table for the bus lines. I'm going to call this one signal 1, and I'm going to click OK. So it created a bus line called signal 1. I'm going to do the same with this one here. We'll call this signal 2. Click OK. Now, what we want is that these signals go to the inputs of this AND gate. So let's go from the AND gate to the bus, and for the top one, we'll click on signal 1. So that's going into the AND gate, and now we'll take the second input here. When this wire's at an angle, then it's ready to make the bus connection. I'm going to call that signal 2. Right here next to the wire it says signal 1, signal 2, signal 1, signal 2. Alright, we're going to do the same thing with these LEDs. So we'll go here, we'll connect that one to signal 1, and we'll connect this one to signal 2. And then this LED here, we'll put on the output. We'll run this output from the AND gate back. We'll call this output. I'm clicking OK. So that wire is now called output. And I'm going to go from here, and we'll make this is our output LED. So I'm going to connect that to the output. I click OK. And then the last thing is we need to have a ground for those LEDs. So I'm going to go from this ground and put it on the bus. Okay, I'm going to call that ground. Click OK. So here's ground. Now these LEDs all have to go and be connected to ground on the bottom side in order for a circuit to be completed. Okay, I'm going to click here, and this will also go to ground. And then finally, this LED has to go to ground as well. Good. One thing that you want to do when you're creating a bus is observe this discipline that all these wires connect with the same angle. And that makes everything very neat and makes your drawings have some kind of elegance. All right, let's test this out and see how it works. I'm going to come up here to the Simulate menu. I'm going to click on Run. And so first I'm going to close this top switch. This first light lights, but the output light does not light. This is an AND gate, and you have to have 1 on both inputs to have a 1 on the output. So I'm going to close the second switch. Now both input lights are lit and the output light is lit. So this circuit is working correctly. This has allowed us to make this diagram very simple and easy to see and easy to follow. Now I'm going to just go ahead and transfer this design to Multiboard. Oops. I'm using this transfer menu here, and it's a little bit tricky. There we go, transfer to Multiboard. And I'm going to call this design bus. All right. And I'm saving that in Multiboard. This is the net list. This just shows all the wires that are and components that are on that board. And here is our Multiboard file. These right here are the components that we placed on the board. These are the LEDs. And this is the integrated circuit. And then this right here is that 2-line switch. So I'm just going to pull these LEDs down onto the board. This is called the rat's nest. You can see these wires are following here. I'm going to pull this integrated circuit down. And last, I'm going to pull this dip switch down. Dip switch dual inline package switch. Great. Over here we can see the placement of the components on the board that we just placed. Alrighty, so that's the next thing that we do is we go to Auto Route, and this lays out the printed circuits. Now this is all the printed circuits have been laid out. If we want to, we can place text on this board. We can make a hole on this board. There's a lot of different things we can do. Add test points and jumpers and all sorts of things. Alrighty, but right now what we're going to do is just go under File, go to Save, and now what we have is a project ready to be sent to be manufactured. Very good.